This is Late Night Politics on StarFm, taking an in-depth look at the Zimbabwean political scene.
It's a Monday. Welcome to Late Night Politics. My name is George Msumba. Can the emergence of independent female candidates make a difference in the 2018 elections? Can they put a change in youth and women voter participation in the country? To help us discuss these issues, we have in the studio the independent candidate for Bulawayo South constituency, Vimbaishe Musvaburi. Welcome to StarFm.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Normally, we would say Vimbaishe or Vimbai. Why the name Vimbaishe?
It's funny how people always call me Vimbaishe, Vimbisai, Vimbiso. But my name is Vimbaishe, meaning trust in the Lord.
Mm-hmm. And how did you come to have this name?
Okay, so when my mother was about to deliver, we lived in Berengwa. My parents were teachers in Berengwa. That's where I come from. And when it was time for me to arrive, my mother went to Masvingo General Hospital to have me there. And there was complications when she gave birth to me, and apparently I almost died. And the doctors had given up on me and said they couldn't do anything. So they were literally waiting for me for the time that I die, because it was complicated like that. My mother then sent my father to go and pick up my guru, who they were sisters in marriage, who was very prayerful. She still is. And said, please go and take my guru to come and pray for my child. My father drove to Mberengwa, picked her up, brought her to Masvingo Hospital, and she prayed over me. Apparently, when she was praying, she was saying that this girl she's going to leave because she's got greater work to do here on earth. So she's definitely not going to die. So they prayed for me, and I was well in the next day or two. I was good enough to go back home. And she named me Vimbaishe, meaning trust in the Lord.
Are you still running on faith?
Certainly, I have a lot of faith, though I stand on certain things that I do or that I believe in for things to work. But that certainly works on faith. But besides me having faith, I think my name serves me in a very good way, because the people around me, people who meet me, people who deal with me, trust me, and I think my name rides on that. It helps also in that regard.
But we can also talk about your name. It had other effects when you announced that you were running. It's a Shona name, and some felt that why is she running in Bulawayo? We'll talk about the issue of tribe. We'll talk about the issue of acceptance, regionalism. We'll talk about Zimbabwean, being Zimbabwean, and later on. But for our listeners, in the past week, the program is Late Night Politics. We saw the passing on of Gogo Maria Musika, who was declared a national heroine. And there was a price hike, mainly in Harare, whereby citizens went into panic buying. And the Tendai Biti-led PDP, People's Democratic Party, imploded. And will that have an effect on the MDC alliance matrix after 9 members were fired by Dr. Gordon Moyo, who went on to install Mrs. Lucia Matwenga to replace Biti? We know that Biti had signed an alliance with the MDC-T and other 6 parties to form an alliance to face ZANU-PF in 2018. We wonder whether this will still be intact. But tonight on Late Night Politics, we are discussing the youth participation in politics, and we are privileged to have an independent candidate in the House. She will be running for Bulawayo South, Vimbaishe Musvaburi. And you went to England to do a nursing degree. But why into politics now? Why aren't you just a nurse?
It's actually a nursing diploma. So when I left Zimbabwe at the age of 17, I got to England, and at the age of 18, I had been looking for a place in school to do what I believed I wanted, but I could not afford, and neither could my brothers, because we were all young in England. So there was an opportunity for every Zimbabwean at that time, or everyone in England, to apply to be a nurse which was readily available, and we didn't need to pay any school fees. Instead, we were paid to train as a nurse. So I jumped on it, even though I didn't believe that in the later future I will remain a nurse. Though, yes, I am a nurse now and I will remain a nurse. Politics, I think when it comes to the nursing side of things, I do not regret ever getting into that position where they say, oh no, you got to do nursing because you're in England, because we can't afford to pay for your fees to do other courses. Because by all means, our health sector needs a lot of help. It needs a lot of it needs a lot of work. It needs a lot of people who are exposed. It needs me as a nurse for me to stand and say I'm going to be a voice in parliament. How am I going to stand for the health sector if I actually don't know what it's about? So I'm actually glad that there is a nurse who can say, hello, I can stand in and speak for my constituency or for my people in Zimbabwe. Another thing that you need to understand is that I'm not the only person who went to England to become a nurse. I can safely say that there's over 5 million Zimbabweans who live outside the country. And there's huge numbers that went to England and trained as a nurse. And they've got so much expertise and so much exposure. But guess what? They can't actually come to their country to work as a nurse. But they would love to come and give back that expertise that they have. Besides that, I mean, they cry about relatives getting into hospital, dying, relatives not getting adequate medication, adequate health care, but they've got it in their hands and they can't just come and deliver or give it out because of the situation in our country. And here I'm saying I want to do my part as a nurse. I know what's needed in the health sector in Zimbabwe and I'm going to be the voice. So thank you for the British government for allowing me to train as a nurse, because I actually know what I can do to help my country in that regard.
Vimbaishe, is that where you got your passion for politics, or it was something born in you?
Before I left Zimbabwe, I grew up in a very middle class kind of family where my parents were both teachers, and my mother used to educate every relative who seemed unable to pay school fees for their child. So we grew up in a family where there was a lot of people in the house and we didn't get the luxuries that other children got. But there were certain things that I knew inside me that I was going to stand and change that and change the differences in the Zimbabwean people. Yes, we had got our independence, but there was still something lacking where we'd say, okay, we've got the independence, but what do we have to do to actually be or move towards being closer to the second world? We didn't want to remain the third world. So by the time I was leaving the country at the age of 17, my mother went to book a flight ticket and got a seat for 12,000. A month later, she went back to and wanting to pay for it, carrying the 12,000. Only to get there, they found that the ticket has actually doubled up and is 24,000. They went back to look for more money so that they could pay for the ticket. Went back a week later, it was 28,000. By then, I realized something was definitely happening in my country. I wanted to understand what it is. So when she came back and she said, no, the ticket is 28,000. I said, Ma, don't use your 28,000. Can we take that 28,000 and educate me here in the country? Because I want to understand what it is that is happening in my country. But at that particular time, I didn't have, I was still a child. So I was being told what to do. And you know that as Zimbabweans, as Africans, we have to listen to parents at a certain time. So I did get on the plane and I went to England. But I can safely tell you that in the 10 years I was in England, I would be in Zimbabwe 3 times a year. To want to understand, I wanted to feel closer to home and live the life Zimbabweans are living, and wanting to know what is it that needs to be changed. Okay, there are sanctions. Why do we have sanctions? Okay, there is this happening in Zimbabwe. I need to understand it. I need to leave it. Until a point where in 2008, I came home on holiday and I found the country overturned to something else that I didn't even understand. It was more like I had come to a different country instead of coming kumusha kwedu ku Zimbabwe. Ndakati, no, something has got to have happened for the country to come to this. I went back to England. By then I knew this was my time to come back. I wasn't coming back because I knew I was going to change the situation. But I wanted to come and live that experience. I wanted to come and queue up with others. I wanted to come and understand Kenya. I wanted to come and understand children are leaving schools, in boarding schools, because there is no food. I wanted to come and understand why children's papers have not been marked, why their results have not come back, why teachers are leaving their jobs in these schools. A lot of things was happening at that time. But how could I have represented my country without actually knowing what the experience was? So that was my comeback in 2008. By then, I knew that I wanted to be in politics. But was it the right time for me to be vocal? No. Why? Because I was still scared. Why was I scared? Because of certain things that had happened to certain people who speak out regarding what they do not agree with in the country.
Vimbaishe, I want to also to understand, for our listeners who've just joined us, we have in the studio Bulawayo South aspiring candidate. She's an independent candidate, Vimbaishe Musvaburi. She will be running in Bulawayo South. I want to understand, Vimbaishe, the mentality, because it seems getting the youth to participate, there is always that fear factor, especially for the females, for the women, for the young girls. They don't want to participate in politics. Why is it so?
There's many challenges that women face because of a certain African culture, that a woman has got to be in the house. But we are changing that narrative as women in our generation. And we're saying, yes, we want to be the humble, respective woman to our family, to our husbands, to our brothers, to our leaders. We want to keep our place as a woman, but we want to be able to be vocal enough and to stand for ourselves, to say no to certain things that we do not agree with. Yes, there are many challenges that women face. Number one, we've got 48% of men in our country. If you stand up in a constituency and you say, you know what, I'm standing up and I'm becoming the voice for you, my father, for you, my brother, you are easily rejected. Not because you can't do the job, but because you are a woman. But we're coming in and we're saying, we are a different generation. And I am a young woman. I'm 35. I've got a daughter who's 13, who is legible to vote in 2023, who's legible to become MP in 2028. This is a generation of women that we're saying, stand up, speak for yourself. I mean, my mother at a certain point wanted to get into politics. And my father said, if you get into politics, then you're leaving my house. And she had to look at the situation and think, okay, what's better? Is it my family or this politics line? And she didn't get into politics. So I am standing up and calling out every woman, every young woman, and saying, there is no challenge until you believe it's a challenge. Because if at all we ride on the fact that we're saying men do not listen to us, for sure they'll not listen to you. But if you're confident enough and you tell them, I know what I'm standing for. If you speak for something and you're a revolutionist and you stand for something, then definitely as a woman you're going to be listened to. But if we believe and say, oh no, we've got challenges, certainly there'll be challenges. So this is what I ride on. I don't believe that these challenges affect me. Because as a woman, I am still going to stand. And
the demographics that you are targeting in Bulawayo South, what particular age group are you looking at across the board? Have you held any campaigns? Have you done anything?
I don't target a certain demographic. I target Bulawayo South, and Bulawayo South has got every household has got parents that lost their children to diaspora at a certain age and do not understand the word family. As Zimbabweans, we've lost the word family. And we've also got a demographic of the youths that are actually available in Zimbabwe, having graduated with no jobs, or even if they haven't graduated, but they've got no money to go to get tertiary education. And what are they doing? We are in all that. A lot of alcohol and drug abuse is actually becoming a problem in our community. That's another problem that we've got to tackle. So I don't have a demographic because right now I've got a child who was born in the year 2000, who turns 18 next year, okay, the child who was born in 1999 needs to register today to be a voter. But I have had a lot of issues where I'm speaking to them. They don't even know what they're voting for because they've never lived a real Zimbabwe. They don't even understand what they look in their heads. They have got an imaginary country that they see online, on the internet, that they watch on TV. They have never experienced a real Zimbabwe. So by all means, they'll agree to go and vote, but they have got no idea what they're voting for. Because as much as you're saying, no, we don't want the government of the day to continue on what they're doing with what they're doing because they've killed us. They don't understand what the government of the day has killed because they've never experienced it. All they've ever known is President Robert Mugabe. So how do you not target that demographic? Because that demographic is alive, and that demographic comes to a point where they need something to motivate them in the day for today. And we've got a current MP from MDC who's got gardens, who is almost turning 80. And if he's 80 and you've got a 17-year-old, it's literally 2 generations apart. Does he understand the fact that when this 17, 18-year-old wakes up in the morning, they don't think garden, they think YouTube, to train them to do what they want to do in the near future because they do not have money to get into education. So we are now living in a world where you teach yourself to do what it is you want to do today on the internet. So what they would want is not a garden. They would want a hotspot to help them do and train themselves with a recreational center, all these other things. So, I mean, then there is these mothers that I was talking about who've lost their children, who are very, very close to wanting change because most of them have never even met their grandchildren. They see them on photos. So they definitely want change, good change for the country to come back to what it was before.
But running as an independent, why an independent? Why didn't you join some of the mainstream opposition parties?
We've had an opposition party for 20 years, haven't we? In the 20 years, they'll say to me, Vimbaishe, if you run as independent candidate today, you'll never win. My answer to them is, it's okay if I don't win. But I would like to ask you, have you ever won? You've been in it for 20 years. Have you won? So by all means, if you've been running for 20 years and you've never won, what right do you have to say to me, Vimbaishe, we've got more experience and we can do this, you'd rather join us? But I'm not joining them, not because they've never won, but because they've got certain ideologies and principles I do not agree with. Even they may be an opposition against the government of the day, which I don't agree with totally. The government of the day has failed us. So I will not join the government of the day, ZANU-PF, and I will not join the MDC. I know the MDC wants change, but change to what?
Yeah, but you are running against a big name, Eddie Cross, economist and so forth. Isn't Vimbaishe cutting a bit, you're cutting your clothes too large or what?
If we're talking about big names and brands, I think we should go advertising on television. That's what sells. Let's talk about politics and doing things right and doing things for the people. He may be a big name. He may be an economist. The word economist to me is wow. What I want to do with Eddie Cross right now is what I want from a lot of other people who've been in politics for a long time, who understand certain things. He's got the economics background. I want to be able to go to Eddie Cross and say, Eddie, you've been running for in this constituency. You've been a voice for this constituency for a long time. But my question to you is, we've got Belmont today. That is the country's industrial hub. So with the economist background, with what background he has, I mean, for sure we would have wanted him to revive certain companies like Merlin. Merlin does diapers. I mean, does napkins. When was the last time you bought napkins for your children? You're a young father. Who buys napkins? Okay, yes, there is a certain group of people who buy napkins. But Merlin was the country that provided jobs for many people in the country. Many people in Bulawayo. Many people in Bulawayo South. But where is it now? There are no jobs, but instead it's still spinning and making napkins. I've got 2 children. I've never bought napkins. Yes, you can continue making napkins, but what happened to the towels that would come across in different countries, where different countries believe that Merlin made the best towels? What happened to those? What happened to many other companies that are in Belmont? What happened to the company that I'm not going to name because I'm on radio right now, who got a tender to make T-shirts for a certain opposition party, which I won't name, they know themselves, and the company closed down afterwards? What happened to those jobs that people had after the company closed down? What did you do, Mr. MP, to fix that? Yes, we see your gardens. Thank you very much. Thank you. I actually think he's a great man. I actually think he knows his job well. But what we don't understand is the 2 generations in between us. Because for him to be able to understand what I want as a 35-year-old, is going to take somebody who is my age to understand that. So what we are saying is, as young people, we are 64% in this country. And if we're 64% in this country, why is it that we can't run things for ourselves, things that we want? Yes, you can be there to guide us. Certainly, if I'm given a chance to get Eddie Cross to mentor me, by all means, I'll take that. That's what we want. We want mentors. We don't want to be in a position where we are scared to speak. We're speaking for things that we believe in, things that we know is right.
But as an independent candidate, Vimbaishe, you are facing the juggernaut of an opposition party which says that they have the space, they are entitled to be the opposition, and you cannot come in. You either join them or you can't. What has been the reception like when you announced your candidature? Because looking at social media, which can be an indicator of the passion that arises when it comes to politics, they said my independent candidates ana basa ari kuda split a vote, muri kutei kom politics, muri mazanu PF agents, muri kudei.
Hapana muna ane space in this country. The Constitution of Zimbabwe says for you to be able to be MP, you've got to be a Zimbabwean citizen and above the age of 21. I am certainly way above 21. So for me to think that MDC is going to say, "Haiwa, tisu tinofanirwa kunge tichitora nzvimbo apa." Aiwa, it's not that. And I want to refuse that, because even MDC constitution Vimbaishe, because we are above the age of 21, you can actually be MP. MDC yovayo aiwa kuti ukwanise kurana as MP iwe unofanirwa unge waita zvakati, waseva muparty zvokuti rise to this certain point. And I'm thinking, okay, why are you making your own laws after the constitution? So by all means, if they believe that they own that space, I want to disagree, because right now we all know that the people that own that space is the government of the day that we want to remove, because we are saying that we are not happy with what they are doing. And neither am I impressed with the opposition party, even if they say that they are the ones who are going to take over.
The program is Late Night Politics. Interesting discussion here. We have a passionate young person who wants to run in Bulawayo South, and she has put her name forward already. She's campaigning. She wants to replace Honorable Eddie Cross, and we are discussing the issue about young independent candidates who are coming through. We have had Fadzaima Here. She will be running in Mount Pleasant. She has been on Late Night Politics. But the issue, the name, it's Shona. And Bulawayo, it used to be predominantly Ndebele. And I know that passions were, some passions said, some people said, why is she running in Bulawayo? We don't want people who are shipped from other areas to come and run Bulawayo. The issue of identity tribe, did you grow up in that area? Why should you run in Bulawayo when you have a Shona surname?
Okay, ngizakhuluma ngesindebele.
Yebo.
Mina ngiyintombi kaMantini. uMantini onguye obuya eKhez. Ngiyintombi njalo. kaMswaburi, uMswaburi ovela eMberengwa. What am I saying? I'm saying that I may be Shona because it is believed that your identity comes from your father. But I believe that I am both because I grew up in both families. I had the privilege. I think I'm one of the most privileged people in Zimbabwe where I have got experience from both families. Because when you find me in Bulawayo with the Ndebele family, you will be shocked that I actually am Shona. And if you find me with the Shona family, you will be shocked as well that I'm actually Shona because I have got the best of both. So I had never experienced any problems regarding my name from the time we moved to Bulawayo in 1988 when I was in grade 1. I was 6 years old. I went to a Bulawayo school. I went to a high school in Nyamandlovu, and I've always lived in Bulawayo all my life. The first time I came to Harare was when I was going to England at the airport, and I didn't even get into the city center. And only now I'm starting to learn Harare roads because I get meetings in Harare and sometimes I visit in Harare. But Bulawayo is my home. Bulawayo South is my home. I was saying that I know when there is a branch of a tree that has been cut out in the roads of Bulawayo South because I understood it. I'm the one who meets people who we used to meet when going to school, walking to school, while they were going to work. Now we meet them loitering around in Bulawayo South because of lack of jobs. I'm the one who comes across these young people who've become alcoholics or who have found comfort in drinking chibuku, who basically, I grew up with them. I went into class with them. So Bulawayo for me is a home. The first time I experienced, or the first time I started thinking about the fact that my name is Shona, and I am Shona, or I'm perceived to be Shona, and I'm not perceived to be part of the people of Bulawayo, is when I announced my candidacy. And there was a lot of rejection from the people of Bulawayo. I was shocked. It was the first time I had ever experienced it. And this was for me was, really? This is actually a real, this tribal thing is real.
Yeah, but why have we failed to shake it off? I thought the younger generation should have passed that stage now. Why are we still holding on to tribe and such? And yet we have become a cosmopolitan world. You have been in England, you have been everywhere, and why are we still as Zimbabweans stuck in this mode that we look at the tribe of the person? Look at any party. I think one of the reasons why the PDP has exploded or imploded has to do with a certain clique saying, no, we are from this region, therefore we want to do all things our own way. Why this tribe thing?
The honest truth is I don't know. It is a challenge. This is one of the challenges. I may say, okay, I am willing to look at it as a challenge because it needs to be solved. But the other question is, Vimbaishe, can you solve it? I don't know, because I don't understand it, because both families are my family. Both languages I speak well. This is how I look at it. And this is what I'm going to say to the young people. Yes, we may stand here and say we want to be able to speak about Gukura Hundi. But I know Gukura Hundi because I read about it. Many other people know about it because they read about it. Did we experience it? Some did. I didn't. Hence, I can never have an answer for it. What I can do is encourage the young people and say, let us change our own current situation. And because in the meantime, right now, Zimbabwe is no longer divided like that. Mm-hmm. It's no longer divided like that. Zimbabwe is now at a situation where we have come to a point where families have come together. When I do my door-to-door campaigns, I go and visit people and I speak to them. I find that 1 in 2 families, there is a Shona who's married in Ndebele. There is a Shona who's married in Ndebele. What we're not understanding is the fact that we have literally come together without realizing that we have come together. The problem is actually going to fade away with time. It's like the multiracial marriages. They are fading away with time. This is a situation or a problem or a challenge that we need to allow to understand, all of us, that the situation that is happening regarding the tribal war can never be fixed by Vimbaishe. If I'm a politician and say, hello, I'm here, I'm going to fix the tribal war, I'll be lying. There is nothing that I'm going to fix because, number one, I don't understand it. I don't even know why it's there. I think Ndebele is a language. I think Shona is a language, and it can be learned. I think French is a language, and it can be learned. I think there are many different cultures that can be learned. Can I just mention one thing? I'm Shona by language, but I'm actually from a tribe called Lemba. I'm a Lemba girl from Berengwa. So when I'm told I'm Shona, now I'm confused again. No, I'm Lemba. What is Lemba? Lemba is the black Jews. This is who I am. These are cultures. This is a culture that I grew up in. This is a culture that I know. Shona for me is a language. Ndebele for me is a language. If you look into my mother's history, you'll find out that they actually came from South Africa. And there is a lot of things that we need to understand before we start getting involved in these tribal wars. My message to the young people is we are young. We've got so much ahead of us. Let's change the narrative. Let's build it for ourselves. Let's have our own future, which is not built on a past. Let's try and phase it out and be together, because I think naturally the families are coming together.
Yeah, it's interesting. Late night politics tonight. We're in Bulawayo South. There's an independent candidate. She wants to win in 2018. She's running for Bulawayo South, and she has come on late night politics to discuss issues. Very interesting. We have discussed issues to do with tribe. We have discussed aspirations of the youths. We have discussed so much being accepted in the community that she stays in. Her name is Vimbaishe Musvaburi, and she will be running in Bulawayo South. And we are honored to have her on Late Night Politics. But I had also Honorable Priscilla Misairabu Mshonga on the program, and when it aired, there was a lot of flack, and I think that there are certain issues that as a female candidate you are going to face. There are certain obstacles that as a female candidate you are going to face.
Like?
You are going to be called names. They will say, I know you. Some of the names are not printable that they will label you with.
Okay. In Zimbabwe, kune 52% dzevakadzi. Kochita 48% dzevarume. And pavarume apa pane vana vadiki, kune age iri diki kwandiri. 48 and 52 pane ka percentage ka 4% aka mati nyangwe tikazvikanzi we are matching each other pa 4% ava vanoita seya pamwe ndini ndinenge ndawirawo pa 4%. Zvisinawo kuipa, life goes on. But whether ndarorwa kana kuti handina kurorwa, ndanga ndichitaura ini kuti the Constitution of Zimbabwe says for you to be a member of parliament you need to be above the age of 21 and to be a Zimbabwean citizen. Hapana panozo explain apoti iwe kuti unga uri Zimbabwean citizen, unofana kuti unga uri member of parliament, unofana unga wakaroriwa nani futi. Kokana ndiri niwe 4%. So these challenges and this name calling, I think I mentioned earlier that there are challenges that as women, if we accept, they are going to affect us. In any, I decide kuti I don't want this challenge to affect me. And it's not going to affect me. I can safely say that I can stand for women. At the age of 6, I was raped. And I'm a rape victim. But it has never affected me. It has been one of those things that I actually use for strength. So if you're a woman and you use certain obstacles to define who you are, then you'll never go forward. This is my belief. And this is what I tell every woman. That aiwaka, kuroriwa hakuna kuti iwewe unofanira kunge wakarooriwa muzimbabwe. Ko kana usikabvumirani nazvo nemurume anenge akuroora, ko kana achikurova, ko kana asikakuchengeti zvakanaka, there is so many things. Ko kana achikuabuser, there is so many things that make us women single. It's not simply because you are rejected ka. It's not simply because aiwa ashaiwa murume, varume vakawanda. We are Africans. You can even choose to be aiwa ndichaita hangu mudzimai wechipiri handiti nyika yedu inozvibvumira. But those are choices as a woman. And if you stand to be a woman that stands for herself and says, no, I am not going to be a victim to anything, they can name call you. It doesn't take away my sleep.
You've got strong shock absorbers.
Certainly. I am the woman that if I'm name called, contributor
Vimbaishe Musvaburi is on late night politics. But how do you want us to judge you? Isusu varume togona ngoita name calling yacho but iwe unoda unzi tione Vimbaishe munhu akaita sei. What are you bringing to the table?
Regarding politics, cannot regarding my person as Vimbaishe.
Zvese.
Inini, what I am bringing to the table as a Zimbabwean citizen in politics is that member of parliament basa rake ndero kutora mazwi evanhu oendesa muparliament onovataurira achivanzwisisa kuti izvi ndo zvichemo zvavo zvavanoda. Handisirini anouya kuzoti ndini Jesu anouya kuzokugadzirirai nyaya idzi. Ndiri munhu uya anoti aya ma-issues edu aya handei tinoamiririra, ndichaamiririra kusvika zvinake. I have got to be that strong person that people believe in and trust kuti kana Vimbai akaitora nyaya yedu iyi ichanogadziriswa. Noma sokunzima kanjani uVimbai uzabuya lempendulo, uVimbai uzakuyazikhalela, uVimbai uzayilungisa. Ama problems, one, there are no jobs. I am not going to create jobs because I don't have the ability to create jobs. But I am going to make sure that that issue is handled. The roads, I don't have the money to make sure the roads are fixed. But I am going to make sure that the government of the day fixes those issues. I am going to make sure that the schools right now, the government school teacher to ratio right now is 1:60. I am going to make sure that the government understands kuti mwana wangu kana ari mu classroom ye government ndoda kuti adzidze. Inini I went to government schools and I had the best education. So kana mwana wangu ari mu government school ndoda kuti adzidze. Inini ndini ndicha understand that problem. Ndini ndichaitora ngihambe laye eparliament. Ngifike eparliament ngifike ngithi lay iproblem elilungiswa. By the time the problem is fixed, they will be able to say Vimbai fixed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the other hand, I am a mother. I'm going to remain a mother to my children and to many other children in Zimbabwe. On the other hand, I am a sister. I'm going to be a sister to my sisters and many other girls and boys in my country. So I am not standing as a member of parliament anongotaura politics achingopromisa zvinhu zvisikaitike. But I am saying that uyai tinzwisisane, uyai titaurirane, uyai tichemedzane. Ini zvandichangoita chete is that I am now going to take what we have cried about, what we have spoken about, and I'm going to take it to the government of the day. And I'm saying, izvi zvinofanira kutoitika izvi mu area yangu. Nyangwe zvadini, it's got to happen.
Ndambobvunza before but handifunga kuti ndanyatsowanza kuwana mhinduro yandandichida pandabvunza kuti pauri kucampaign uri kuenda here vanhu vari kuti chi, how are you doing it? Because pane nyaya yeapathy, vanhu vari kungoti zvepolitics chii chinochinja, hapana, I'm not interested. How are you generating interest among especially the youths vavataura kuti vanenge vakangogara paBelmont vachingonwa kana udidi?
Apathy iripo chaizvo, especially in Matebeleland, because pakauya opposition party Matebeleland yakafara ikati finally tinowana something that is happening for our city. And if I tell you that in Bulawayo, the last building to elope in our city, the last building that was set out kunzi izvi zvinto zviri kuiswa for our city was Bulawayo Center. After that tinotonge takakanganwiwa, and apathy iripo because of things like that. But what do? I have taken it upon myself kuti ndoda kuita a personal communication ne each and every household in my constituency. Saka ndichapinda mudzimba neimwe einye leinye indlu ngizangena ngixoxe lapho, even if it means that ndinodzingwa but ndinenge ndatomboyedza, because that is the only way I have. I don't have resources, because if you have resources to rally, to say, I'm not going to go through that because I'm independent and I do not have resources. And what I am working on is the hope of the people. The people have got hope ndo kandiri kuchidzira with each and every person, because kuti apathy ipereka unofanira unge wanzwisiswa nemunhu uyuyu. Akakunzwisisa wochiti okay ngatichienda tino register. Kana register wochiti okay iwewe wakunida kuvhota manje. Wafanira kuunderstanda kuti uri kuvhoterei. Chichinjwe in our constituency, in your country. How is it that is going to happen? And they've got to understand, you've got to make them understand. Kuti iko zvino is our chance to make the next 5 years different. If we don't rukukura, I mean, in 5 years, I'm going to be 40. And I'm going to be 40, and then I say in 40. At the age of 40, my parents had a home. At the age of 40, I do not have a home. I don't have a job right now. So what I have is my hope that I have for the people. My grassroots, ndiwo aripo. Yes, we are on social media. Yes, we are urging people from outside the country to come and vote. But now my grassroots aya. Evanu vatoripo. Vatinofanirwa kutotaura navo kuti sibazwe bond. Apathy khona. Kodwa sukumana asizameni. That little light that's left. We've got to make sure that it lightens up again.
Yes, for our listeners who've just joined us, a passionate young lady is in the house. It's Late Night Politics, and she's from Bulawayo South. She's running in Bulawayo South. Her name is Vimbaishe Musvaburi, and Late Night Politics has gone to Bulawayo, and a lot of passion there. A lot of some are saying that the passion that you have as young people, it's more of activism. But how do you translate that into politics now? They will say you will run out of steam.
Is it about steam?
The long marathon run, will you be there in 2018? Will you make it? Some will say, look, it's a phase. She will run out of steam.
Ukaona uchiri kutaura zve-steam nekuti uchaneta. Unenge usati waneta nezviri kuitika munyika mako. Once you understand that the situation that is there right now is not going to give me a job, hapana kuneta kwauchaita. Kana uine mwana akakumirira mumba achida chikafu, ukachineta iweweka, there is nothing like that. Because acha expect my child is finishing school in 6 years. And in 6 years, she will be wanting to go to university. After university, she'll be wanting a job. Kana nyika yedu isati yanaka, she's not going to have a job in Zimbabwe like her mother. Kana nyika yedu isati iskazonake. My child has never lived, my second child who's 6, has never lived a life in Zimbabwe. Achiwona ma road kwao. The only time he sees real roads is when we visit South Africa or when we lived in South Africa. That's when he says, oh yeah, these are the real roads. He doesn't have that experience in Zimbabwe. So what are we doing? We are fixing the next generation. We are fixing the future of our children. Saka ukaona wanetaka hausati wada kuti nyika yako inake. So what am I saying? I'm saying I am going to be there through fire, through thick and thin. Ndiripo. Pama elections ipapo tetiripo. Zviri kunzi maposters edu vachawadimbura. It's fine. Visai maposter edu. I'll be there. Zviri kunzi Vimbai uchafa anditye kufa. Kana kuri kufa ndinorowa nemotikari panze ndofa. I am no longer at a point where I'm scared of anything. So by all means ndendiripo muna 2018. And hapana zviri kumboitika kwandiri, by the way. Hapana.
Vamwe vanoti hanzi murungozviitira kuti muwane funding. There's some funding that you are trying to access. Pane mari dzamuri kuteya dzinenge dzichibva kunze kwenyika.
Funding kubva kunani? Who is giving us money? The country doesn't even fund independence at all. Hatina kana mari. I can safely tell you that before I started the fighting for my country, I could afford to put both my children in private schools, boarding school. I have taken my children out of that right now. Why? Because I believe it's worth me fighting for a country, for my country, for their future. So, vatobuda vakutopinda muma government schools umomo because I can't afford it. Kandandine funding, by all means, we'll be having that life. I don't have a vehicle. I'm not being funded. I don't have a house. I'm not being funded. And I'm not gonna send Pandiri to come to this interview. Dato pikwa no mwe munu. Akandiunza pano. Kana akandisia ameno tikumba kwangu ndinoenda nei. So funding, there is no funding that we're getting as independents. People think kuti kune ma organization anopa vanhu mari. Kana vachivapa inanza ndapiwa. And inini then chip kana ndikapiwa mari, I'll make sure that it's for the campaign. Inenge iri not for my own personal use. Because if it's for my own personal use, I'm 35 years old and I have gotten to this through hard work. And I'm sure if I wanted a certain lifestyle, I would not be able to, I would stop fighting for my children's future and just concentrate on me today and selfishly for me and just work and pay the bills and have a card that I swipe in an economy where we've got no cash and in an economy where you walk into the bank, wapua $50 of coins.
The program is Late Night Politics, and we have Vimbaishe Musvaburi. She will be running in Bulawayo South. The last independent candidate, women candidate who won was Margaret Dongo. Who are some of the inspirational politicians that you look up to, and what do you get from them?
I had just read about Margaret Dongo. I had never met her until this past week on a Wednesday. She is a great inspiration to me because I look at her and think all these challenges that you mentioned that as women we face, she faced them at a time where no one was bold enough to stand for the females in our country. She stood up and said, I am going to do this. She stood up and said, against all odds, I am here and I'm speaking out and I'm saying no to this. And that was then 2008 elections were the hottest. But she stood up and said, okay, ndozva ndiri kuita izvi and ndicharamba ndakazvimiririra. And as the icing on the cake, I met her on Wednesday. And I realized that what I had actually known about her was so little as compared to what she dished out in 5-10 minutes that she spoke to us. And for me, that's my greatest inspiration.
Any other politicians that inspire you? Are you the current crop that is there?
I'm in support of women. I'm in support of women, whether opposition party, just a woman. Women have got a great strength that a lot of women don't know that they have. And I will support every woman who is in a certain place because they are in that place because they are fighting for a good cause. I can tell you that if you find a woman in an opposition party or in the main government, if she comes in to talk to me right now, she will put the political side of her on the side and say, Semukadzi, Sevakadzi, Gatinzgwisisanei, let's stand with each other. So as women, there is a certain thing that we do or that I encourage women to do. Let's stand with each other. Let's stand and say, somebody was saying to me, Vimbai, she's actually a woman a great woman in politics right now. She's a member of parliament. And she said to me, Vimbai, your type is not wanted in parliament. It's not wanted in parliament. Why is it not wanted in parliament? It's because you will make a lot of noise. And they do not want that noise. So they will make sure you don't get into parliament. Have you realized that the women that are in parliament, 5 years, it's no pera, Astakana mbotaura kana word one.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth to say, are you impressed with the current parliamentary business? Are you impressed with the level of debate which is currently prevailing in parliament?
Am I impressed with it? If I was, I wouldn't be running for parliament. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not saying that I'm not impressed with everyone. But by all means, if they understood, another MP again who's in parliament said to me, for you to get to where we are, I mean, I got to where I am after 40 donkey years or 30 donkey years. So do you think that you're going to get to here now after you've just come in today? And that made me realize that our greatest hurdle as young coming up, independent politicians coming up, is not just getting votes. It's actually being accepted by the people in parliament. They think we are there to come and take away their seats. No, we are not there to come for power. We are not there to come and take people's seats. We are here to make change in our country for our future, for our generation, for our children's generation. And you haven't done it for us. And we want to do it for ourselves.
The program is Late Night Politics, and we are winding up our discussion. Vimbaishe, I will ask you to send a message out to the people in Bulawayo South, Kuluma Labo, Tauranabo. Speak to them as we wind up.
Ngizokhuluma ngesindebele khathesi. Ngifuna ukulikhumbuza ukuthi iBulawayo South yindawo esasima khona emgwaqweni lwana owe Plumtree Road. Sime sibakhangele bephuma kuma-industry. Ama-industry ephuphuma ngabantu bevela emsebenzini. Befika ezindlini zabo. Bethengele abantwana babo izinkwa. Bephuma ekseni bechiya abantwana esikolo bebuyele emsebenzini. Ayisikho yini lokho esikufunayo? Khathesi esikubukelayo ngabantwana abahamba emabhawa besiyanatha. Ngabantwana abangela msebenzi. Konke khona lokho sifuna ukukutshintsha. Nguyini esikubonayo sibona ukuthi ukudla senzo okokudubeka ukuthi ukudla kutholakala. Omama labo baba, abantwana abekho alikaze lihlale labo. Abazukulu benu alibazi ngoba bachithekile bangale eLondon, eAmerica, eSouth Africa. Bonke basendaweni ezichiyeneyo. Alifuni na ukuhlala ube lemuli yakho ndawonye. Kungabi le ndawo ukuthi omunye umntwana useAmerica, omunye ungali alisayazani. Seliyazana ngama WhatsApp kuphela. So ngithi kini sokuyisikhathi sokuhamba ukuyaguqula leyo ndaba. Sokuyisikhathi sokuthi usukume namuhla uhambe efamona lapha ya, uhambe uyeregister. Uhambe lesithupha sakho, uhambe le proof of address yakho, uhambe labanengi utshela abanengi abaku WhatsApp yakho batshela sambeni siye vote. And I'm going to tell the young people that this is our time to change our country. How do we change our country? The parliament has got 210 seats. And in these 210 seats, you just need to be the age of 21 and to be a Zimbabwean citizen. It's only not Vimbaishe who needs to stand for parliament, but it is you and I and every young people who knows what they want for their generation, for their children's future, for their constituency. We need to change Zimbabwe. Why should we be the young people who just go to other countries and get all this treatment that we are getting in other countries when we've got our beautiful land? We've got our riches in this land, and it is only up to us. We are educated enough to come and change. We've got engineers, we've got everybody that we need to come and change our country. And so I encourage each and every young person to go and register to vote. And after voting, your responsibility is to go and vote. And after voting, your responsibility is to protect your vote. Thank you.
I thought you were going to say vote for Vimbaishe Musvaburi. Well, thanks for coming through to Late Night Politics. I hope you are fired up in Bulawayo South. Go and register to vote wherever you are in Zimbabwe. The blitz will be happening soon. Get into that queue. get your destiny into your own hands. We were privileged to have a fired up young lady who wants to make a difference in the 2018 elections. Vimbaishe Musvaburi, she will be running in Bulawayo South. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you so much for having me.
And for our listeners, catch another edition of Late Night Politics next week on Monday. My name is George Msumba. Good night.
You've been listening to Late Night Politics on StarFM, taking an in-depth look at the Zimbabwean political scene. Join us again next week, Monday, same time on StarFM. Tune in to Star FM every Monday night for Late Night Politics, brought to you by Star FM News and Current Affairs. From 11 p.m. till midnight for riveting, engaging political discussions. Meet Zimbabwe's political players as they square off live on Zimbabwe's leading radio station. Your Monday late nights will never be the same again. Late Night Politics on Star FM, leading the pack and sounding good all the time. You've been listening to Late Night Politics on Star FM, taking an in-depth look at the Zimbabwean political scene. Join us again next week, Monday, same time on Star FM.